over alleged plans by the Communications Authority of Kenya to tap into private phones through the installation of a new system into the main telephone service provider's network. The Communications Authority has refuted these claims of spying on mobile phones, insisting that all they want is to control the usage of SIM cards to avoid crime. We want to talk to a social media technology expert, Philip Ogolla, but first, let's listen in to what the Communications Authority Director General Francis Wangusi had to say.
Not only poses a security threat, but also leads to a loss of revenue to both mobile operators and the government through evasion of taxes. The implementation of this system is also intended to meet the requirements of the East African region under the Northern Corridor Integration Project's Heads of State Summit, which directed that each member state deploys systems that cap illegal bypass and termination of telecommunication traffic within the context of one network area. For them to be able to provide a schematic diagram that misleads Kenyans to think that we are putting props to be able to enter into this, what we call SIM card toolkit of the operator, of the subscribers to mine information from there is as false as any liar that you can ever come across in this world. And I think we at CA are very disturbed about this because the mobile operators at large know very well since last year when we started having discussions around how we can legally be able to deploy the system, technically make it feasible, could even up to this point release information that is intentionally intended to mislead the public.
All right, so according to him, he says that the information is intended to mislead the public. However, there is also the question as to why this information had not been given openly, but it leaked out after it had already been put in place, and it came from the mobile network providers, the device management system. Now, joining me in studio to have this conversation is Mr. Philip Ogolla, who is a digital humanitarian. Thank you for joining us this afternoon, and Kenyans are worried that there may be a chance that their secrets are basically, well, let's just say that they're vulnerable. Their information is vulnerable. Should there be cause for concern?
I think Kenyans have double standards. Let me just be very honest. We give so much information. First, there's no privacy. Even before you involve the government, there's no privacy. If you have a smart device, there's no privacy.
What do you mean there's no privacy? Do you mean that our phones are vulnerable? The information that we give out is already vulnerable?
Very vulnerable. And even our online habits give so much information, which any layman can actually get information about you in terms of what you post online, your online habits, who you are dating, who your son is, where you're working. There's so much information you can actually mine from our online, from our smart devices. And even the apps which we download, those apps mine our data. How many people know about that?
Yeah, in fact, when you download apps, there is a question they normally ask for privacy, whether it has access to your pictures, whether it has access to all that. And the natural thing to do is just click OK. Yeah. Yes.
So why aren't guys raising flares about those apps? Those apps back up everything. They back up our SMSs, our voice calls, our photos. How many people know about that? So I think our online habits, actually, we should be worried about our online habits, not about the spying by the government. And I'm looking at this more of a security kind of, because the digital space, it's easy to actually mine. You can easily geolocate an area and be able to mine data. So I'm looking at more of a situational analysis just to monitor, get the pulse of the sentiments of people. But people should be very worried. The digital space gives a false sense of anonymity. And most Kenyans, how they use the digital space, they give so much information about themselves instead of getting stuff.
Do you think this is more of a cultural thing, that we're so open that to a point where we're not really cautious of the information we give out, to a point where we just give out too much?
I think it's ignorance.
Ignorance,
It's ignorance. It's on a higher level, and parents should be very, very afraid, especially if you have young children who are actually quite tech savvy. Because we have a generation that is very sharp, very bright, but cyber foolish. Where they post so much.
Describe cyber foolish. What do you mean by that?
Cyber foolish is now when you probably pose naked. You may be very bright in class, very sharp in university and everything, but you won't get jobs based on your online habits. Because you find like now people are posing naked online, or abusing the authority, or those funny cyber
things that will come haunting. And like they say that the internet never forgets.
never forgets.
Never forgets. It keeps those records. Now coming back to this device management system, the reason why I guess people are up in arms is just the feeling that the government now would have an upper hand in terms of if they wanted information from you, they can retrieve it without you knowing.
I think, to me, it's more of we should not be worried about that. That is, to me, it's a non-starter.
Why not? Because really, if I'm having a conversation with you online, that is private, really. There should be nobody who should have that access unless I give them the access.
There's no privacy. Let me just begin from there.
Online?
There's no privacy online. I don't need to know you. I don't need to know your number or email. I'll get information about you. Mm-hmm. So we should just start from there.
Okay.
So one, if someone has your, you see like now, cybercrime is actually on the rise because we are quite vulnerable online. We give so much information. Someone can actually get your details based with your email and your phone number.
Now, the reason the Communications Authority is giving for this new device or network access way that they're able to get it is basically to follow up on stolen devices. Do you think that's a genuine reason they're giving?
I think that's a genuine reason. I think it's more of a security concern, and for us we should be more uploading them, because we've had incidents of where we have a lot of phones which are falling in wrong hands, and it's easy to actually follow up on this. I'm looking at more of a security more than just privacy, because the stuff we leave. I'll give an example. How many Kenyans know about using a Wi-Fi, these open Wi-Fis?
Open Wi-Fi is that, well, you're just surfing data.
If you just surf in an open Wi-Fi, somebody can actually get all the information on your phone.
How do they do that? How do they actually get the information on your phone?
You see, like now, when you surf on an open Wi-Fi, somebody can actually bypass and actually hack into your system. It's very easy to actually. I do that every time.
What, you hack into people's systems?
We are so vulnerable. You can actually see someone's laptop, what they are doing, which state they've been to. How many of us know about that? How many of us know about our security? Like, I'll give an example. How many parents know that if you have a Wi-Fi at home, any stranger can come to your house? Are we private?
Well, when you say any stranger can come into your
Somebody
house,
can actually bypass your Wi-Fi and actually turn on your camera of your phone and start viewing you from remotely.
Wow. Is there a way we can mitigate that? Because really, at the end of the day, you're making it sound like we're already so vulnerable to a point where whatever the Communications Authority is bringing is nothing.
It's nothing.
How do we protect ourselves then?
I think, one, we should be very careful what we put out there. We should actually be very careful in terms of giving so much information where we live, where we stay, phone number, and avoid free apps. So buy those authentic apps, which are more secure, and even there are apps which can actually give you better encryption.
Okay, and does that mean all free apps are not good?
Okay, not all are good. Okay, some are good, but it's good to actually cushion. There are apps which can actually give you more security settings. So if someone tries to hack into you, it actually now spoofs. It spoofs your location or even spoofs, so it's hard for someone to actually trace you.
Okay. Now, I guess the false sense of security we have on the internet that makes us give more information than we should is the fact that we feel that it's a secure network. What is a secure network, if anything like that exists?
It's, I think there's nothing secure. We should be very worried because, in fact, like I've seen friends of mine who have fallen victim based on what they're posting. Because we give so much information that getting your password it's like 1, 2, 3 step. How many of us know about that? Because most people have their birthdays as their password. So you post about your birthday, your anniversary, and your son. And even I'm talking about parents. I've seen parents who have lost kids based on their online habits. You post when the kid was born, their school, every day. So when this kid is hijacked, whom do you blame? We've seen incidents of rape cases where young girls and young boys actually get raped. I have cases of all of those based on their online habits. We trust strangers online than even on our face-to-face. So I think we should be worried more about our security online than this DMS device.
All right. So since you deal with this, what are some of the silliest, for want of a better expression, things that we do online without knowing how we are putting ourselves out there?
I think one of the things which people need to know that when you take a photo with your phone, please turn off the data. Because when you take a photo with your phone, the data, when you post it, someone can actually tell your location based on that photo. the kind of phone you have, where you are, how many people know about that. And then
What you put off your data
put off your data, turn it off completely.
as you're taking the picture.
Taking the picture.
What's the reason for that?
Because every photo has it's called EXIF data, which is more like a DNA. And that DNA can actually pick more information about your phone, the exact time you are, the weather.
Where you are,
Exactly.
location.
Yeah.
Okay, so turn off your data while you're taking pictures. Anything else?
And avoid just friending anyone. You need to know who you're actually accepting social media. Because we have sex pests online. We have cyber people actually who are just out to... I have cases of a friend of mine who met someone online, they became friends. And we live in a society where we have this problem of low self-esteem. So we'll trust a stranger who gives you praise, you look smart, you look beautiful, you look what. This girl was actually met someone online, they became friends. He gave her a flash, very fancy flash with her name. She went to the office and plugged in the flash. That flash had a malware. It plugged in that office and they stole money based on that.
Okay.
So we need to be very careful in terms of who we befriend online and never trust anyone online, even your friends. Because now in the age of screenshots, you don't discuss anything. I prefer have a face-to-face kind of, yeah. And if you're not using your phone, turn it off. Turn your Bluetooth off, because Bluetooth also can give access to your phone.
To your phone.
Yeah.
All right, let's go back to the device management system that apparently is supposed to be monitoring mobile phones. As much as you say we should be more worried about ourselves, that's taken and granted. But is there concern with the government now having more access to our phones? And I know the argument is that there are so many millions of Kenyans who are using the device, so really they don't have the time. And that could be true, but there could be specific people who they would want to find out what the activities are. For instance, now we're getting to a very tricky period where we have elections. You could have the government maybe try and monitor what is the opposition planning through their data.
I think that's something which I'll not want to dive into, but I'll give the security concern angle. I think it's more of like an early warning tool, where they can actually pick instances of flare-ups, or they can predict a situation coming up and arrest the situation before it gets worse.
How will they do that if they're not accessing our info? It means maybe they have the information, because one of the things that they're talking about is they're going to deal with hate speech with this new device system.
I'll give an example. I can also do it. There's a way you can actually geolocate. Let's say you can geolocate Nairobi. So once you geolocate Nairobi, you can actually pick any post on any social media channels. Any post. So you can imagine they can actually...
And that's already in place even before this device management system?
Yes, that's already in place.
Okay.
So are you seeing where we're coming from? So
Yeah.
it's easy. I remember we did the same during the last year's election, where we actually geolocated an area and we could pick instead of where flare-ups are actually coming up. And
When you talk about flare-ups, what are those?
when guys are saying that we are going to kill this community, we are going to cut this. So it's easy to actually pick such posts.
So is it coded such that you know what has been said? Or?
It's about, you just have like a key terms. You search, you have key terms like panga, fire, shoot, gunshot. So any post with those keywords, you just pick.
It picks it up?
Yep.
Okay. And that you say is already in place. So what they're bringing in now is not something new in terms of what they can access?
Okay, I only talk much on that, but I think it's more of just getting to know the kind of phones which are in play.
Yeah. Okay. So from what you're saying, is it then best if we stay offline, by the sounds of it?
Yes. You only get on offline if you need to. Because we leave a lot of footprint. I want to challenge you. Do you know your digital footprint?
What is that, first of all? What is
digital footprint is every time you go online, you click, you share, you email, you actually leave a trail.
A path.
Yeah. And that path describes you based on your habits, how long you spent on it gives you a character. Either you're a pervert, you're a hate speech monger, you're a pedophile, you're a cyberbully. The online actually character gives you a character. It can
Based
actually
on what you,
based
the
on what
sites
you
you go
post.
to and what you post.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, so how do I find out, maybe, for instance, what's my digital footprint?
There are various tools, and that's what I'm telling you. I think when people are raising flares about the government, there are tools which can actually pick what you've deleted. Since you joined Facebook or any social media channel, it can pick all those and give you your character based on what you...
And is that something that I can access myself if I wanted to know, for instance, now, what does my online footprint say about me? What does it describe me as?
I think we can arrange another session. We do it live. We can do a live demo.
Okay, it can be done. All right, I guess then we'll definitely invite you to.
I did a
that done.
demo once, and I picked some. It was a girl who was quite sharp, and she just graduated, and we did an audit of her digital profile, and we picked videos of her, which was quite raunchy.
Explicit videos. Okay, so I guess internet is watching, so people better be careful. All right, give us maybe some of the, as much as this device management system is coming into place, some of the things that we need to be wary about and what we need to do when we are online, to be conscious, just to be conscious. Because naturally, if I am, using my computer here, I have this feeling of being very private in my own space, nothing happening. What are some of the things that I must be aware of?
I think one you need to be aware if there's no privacy. There's no, so never think twice before you post anything, because it may actually come and haunt you. And then social media is not online, it's offline.
What do you mean by that?
Social media is actually offline habits which are brought online. So our offline habits, try and balance them before you bring them online. And half the time people put so much information in terms of your location, where you live, avoid that completely. I remember if, let's say you post, I can give you where you stay, where you work, where you go to church, who you are dating. How many of us know that?
And that is all accessible from there by a third party, not by...
Yeah.
Is that accessible just from the back end of the internet?
No, there are various tools which can actually do that.
Okay, so in terms of now the device management system, do you think the government is being genuine in telling us that, look, we're not really out to spy on you? What we are out to do is monitor crime and make sure that those illegal devices, are taken off the market?
I think on a security point, I support the government, because right now there are so many phones which are actually in wrong hands. It would be good to actually keep track. And I don't know if Kenya, I've traveled far and wide, and buying a phone or a SIM card, it's quite hard. I went to Addis the other day. Getting a SIM card, it took me like 3 weeks. You have to leave your passport behind, you have to leave your details, you have to get a letter, you have to get someone to endorse you for you to get a SIM card. So, as in, we don't take security serious in Kenya.
So if it is that serious in some countries for you to get a SIM card, should we get to that point? Or, because really then we should not get to a point where the government has to monitor this without my knowledge, but we do the checks beforehand, so that whoever has got a SIM card has had to go through so much that you can verify that they've actually, left the documents.
I think that's the way to go.
Okay. Yeah. And why would we not be going that way? Why are we seeming to attack it from the back end?
All right, I wouldn't discuss much because that's not my. I'll focus more on the digital bit. But on the security front, I think it's paramount, especially right now when you're heading to the elections. And we've been having a lot of cyber, terrorist attacks. So it's also good to actually monitor which phones are actually in
now, currently, we do know that every phone has an IMEI number, which is unique to that particular handset. And the IMEI number is what would identify that handset belongs to AB, or at least you can track it, should it be stolen. Why isn't that happening now? We don't need this device management system because we already have the IMEI number.
Okay, I would not talk much because it's. I think it's going to be against my ideals, but I'll tell you one thing. The IMEI number is actually, you see, like now, if you go online, if you, let's say I pick your email or I pick your phone number, I'll get your IMEI number. With your email number, anyone can actually pick all the sites you've gone to.
Okay. So now, once that IMEI number is available, the authorities would be able, technically, should be able to pick up that handset and also locate where it is. Yeah. Why aren't we doing that?
Yeah, okay, I don't know how they work, but it's
possible to do that.
It is possible.
So this is not an addition to that. Does it enhance that particular part of the security?
It enhances.
It enhances.
It enhances, yeah.
Okay. So for you, you'd say
because there are instances where the phone is actually tampered with, where the phone is jailbroken or anything. So, yeah.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Philip Ogolla, who is a digital humanitarian. And, so for you, we shouldn't be worried about this new device management system.
I think we should be worried about our privacy and our security online. There's so much. I've seen so many people lose money, lose stuff online just because of the online habits.
All right. Thank you very much. We'll break it right there. Now, let's move on to another story where a host